Now we go into an example. Okay, we are taking an example of where there is a process that involves design, estimating, procurement for reinforcement. Okay, this is again given as an example to show a potential process and value stream in a construction example. Some of the specific numbers might not be relevant to, it's not a standardized number. It's a number which a group did a study and came up with. So it is more to discuss and to illustrate how it can be, how some elements of it can be used rather than to say that this is a specific case study. Okay, so keep that in mind. So again, we have a planning cell here which communicates to a design department about when reinforcement is required for a particular work. Okay, so we are taking basically reinforcement work that needs to go onto a site. We have a good for construction drawing being released by design. The GFC undergoes quantity takeoff. The quantity takeoff quantities go to procurement through the bar bending requirements, and the procurement places an order to the reinforcement delivery group. It gets delivered. It goes to the reinforcement yard where the cutting and bending etc. is done, and then the assembly is done once. Okay, so this is the process. Okay, starting from where the drawing quantities are taken off to the final reinforcement being placed on the site. So is there value addition in each step? Yes. What would be the value in the drawing, GFC drawing creation?
It's giving us the idea of what exactly you are supposed to do.
Right. So who's the customer here? Who could be the customer? Of course, there are internal customers, but who could be an external customer?
The end user.
Who's the end user? Let us take this process. Let's not look at the owner of the building because that's ultimately yes. Ultimately, the owner of the building is the ultimate customer. But for this process, who is an interim customer? It could be the project manager. It could be the person who's actually wants to do this reinforcement on time. Okay, somebody here communicated and said, look, I want the rebar to come and I want to be able to finish my slab reinforcement and finish it. Or even the supervisor in charge of that block who has to finish the pour. Okay, it could be an internal customer. Okay, what is the quality? What is the value that customer gets out of design?
Whether it is safe or not, whether
exactly. It is safe is one.
Quality is two.
Quality in terms of the quantity of takeoff, or the drawing should be good so that the quantity takeoff is
less.
Is correct.
Yeah.
First of all, correct. Yeah. Accuracy. I should not get the wrong rebar delivered to me. I should not get the wrong sizes, wrong this, wrong that, wrong type of rebar. Okay, so there is value addition, which is just saying conformance to my requirements itself is value. Okay, or like what you are saying, my quantity, I could do GFC drawing, or I could do constructability, but might not be in this particular situation. Might be able to go ahead of the stream to be able to optimize my reinforcement, this, that, etc. But in each of this step, making sure I get the right numbers with the right dia, all of that is definitely a value addition which happens everywhere. Even in my procurement, I can give wrong quantities. I can make an error anyway.
Even while delivering the material, there are also some error.
Correct. So there is value added in this whole process, and each stage of this process, and how do you ensure that what the person wants is what is delivered? Is one of these is looking at the value stream. Okay, and here we have. So I think that is very important. Here we have rough numbers of numbers of processing time and lead time. Okay, and here you have the process time and lead time, which you can calculate based on the same formula or the same calculation, the activity ratio and the percentage CNA. Okay, so now if I want to improve this, this is my current state now. I want to do some improvements on this. What are the options?
You can remove the quantity takeoff part first.
How do I remove the quantity takeoff?
Directly from drawing, we can.
Correct. So you want to be able to somehow get it from drawing to. Fine. Okay, that's one idea. Any other ideas?
Standards.
Yeah, that's all. So this is one idea that we will work on this side. Anything we can do here. So here you look at 17 days, lead time is 30 days.
We can actually plan to reduce the lead time.
Yeah, we can plan to reduce the lead time. We can plan to reduce the processing time. We can say, look, so there are ideas. I can use some ideas here. So let's look at the first proposed idea, future state map 1. They said, okay, we're going to mechanize the
Enforcement.
work here. Okay, not much improvement. Okay, through mechanization, things happen. So this went from 17 to 15 and this went to 24. Okay, so there was some improvement in everything else remains 5, 13, 2, 4, 3, 6. Okay, 3, 6, 2, 4, 5, 13 remains the same. Only here there has been a change and that is reflected in the metric. It's a minor change. So some. Then we go to a next change. This is future state map 2. Like you had suggested, we said, okay, we'll use a BIM model. So if I'm going to do BIM, all my quantity takeoff is taken care of by the BIM model, I'm assuming. So this activity goes off, or this process goes off, and I go straight to the procurement. Now, can this be done at is this a micro level or macro level? Improvement of mechanization.
Macro.
Improvement through mechanization.
Mechanization is micro.
Micro.
But overall
BIM
BIM
model macro. I need top management buy-in for. Okay. So, but then again, now I have, okay, for they have actually clubbed these two, but increase the days, but reduce the number of people by this is the number of people. Reduce the manpower, but increase the days. Okay. Might be there is some BIM training. So if I start improving BIM training, automation, I could even potentially reduce the days.
Yes.
Okay. So these are just indicative numbers right now. Okay. My procurement has taken place. I've improved this through mechanization. I have a new set of metrics. Then I go in now with another future state map 3 where I'm using the BIM model and I'm not going to do rebar cutting and bending at site. I'm going to use a rebar center to supply cut and bend rebars. Okay, and then I'm again I have improvements in my processing. Now the only time I will require here is to actually place the rebar.
There also we can again improve.
Right, improve. So such improvements can be brought in. A lot of times when you look at it, we are now looking at the whole process, and these improvements will continue to change. So these metrics you have to keep in mind, and of course what is happening in each of these. Okay, we get the quantification is sometimes not the main focus. The main focus is the process, understanding the values in the process, the discussions and all of that takes place. But ultimately we need to also quantify where we are bringing improvement. So if we look at the summary, you'll see that what it talks about is future state 1, 2, 3, the process time, lead time, activity ratio, okay, and the percentage CNA, and all of these values were as we discussed in each of these maps. You can see with each future state, there has been improvement. So current state was 27 for processing time, 25, 24, 20. Okay, the lead time reduced from 53 to 32, which means activity ratio went from 51 to 63, and okay, complete and accurate percentage went from 36 to 93. Now here you can see a big jump, and the jump has come because we are saying when we do a BIM model, we are getting very accurate output, whereas when we do a GFC based manual thing, the output, the accuracy is less. Okay, this is a proposed number. Any questions?
So who will take the decision, or how you will take the decision, how much you need? Because there is a monetary effect regarding
yeah. So this is where the question now. So which change are we talking about?
Talking about the procurement cutting and
the procurement of so if you want to do, so this is a common problem, right? So
yes,
we can look at this in two ways. One is there, so the same issue was faced several years back when we went from site mix to ready mix. Okay, is there enough are there enough vendors to give me ready mix the time I want?
Or there will be monopoly also.
Correct. Okay, am I getting is here I want, so you have to do an analysis to see whether the trade-off is worth it. But you will find that as more and more rebar centers come up in cities or in your area, you will find you get much more value by just placing the order and getting what you want rather than cutting and bending on site and having all the wastages and all of that. But it's a case-to-case basis. It's not a, you have to decide. Same thing between batching plant on site versus thing. These are all what you say. You'll have to look at the trade-offs and decide what.
Yes, sir. The same value stream mapping can we look at with the dimension of flow, with the principle of flow.
You can look at the principle of flow, but that's more advanced. Okay, I don't want to bring in that concept here. You can look at more. There are more metrics to value stream mapping. Tuck time, okay, and how there are many more metrics to value stream mapping, which is also there in the process. When you talk about operations management in a manufacturing facility, several of those parameters can be brought in. We can look at it so ideally, what is the thing from a flow perspective, when the input comes in, there should be lead time should be equal to processing. Okay, then the flow is perfect. And the processing time should also try to be as minimal as possible.
Yes.
Then lead flow is there. But to get into that level of analysis requires probably a more advanced terminology and requirements, not typically in the VSM alone. That comes with more of operations management kind of aspects, but definitely a topic that should be there in the future. Okay.
About one more thing about the matrices. So,
metrics.
Right now we talked about broadly two metrics. That's a processing time and lead time. Activity ratio, it's complete accuracy. It's related to those. So in construction specifically, we supposed to use any other matrices, maybe like cycle time or
no. So that's what. So again, I've not defined the use of cycle time here, but the terms of these would be related to cycle time.
Yes.